split spot up the right. You have an extra spot now.
Okay.
Neither will you have a need for this. There's just no reason why you should use it.
Okay.
These both are the same. They just give you 2 containers. You need to keep them closed because moisture, dampness will affect them. It'll deteriorate them. These test for peroxide and pH and total alkalinity. Total alkalinity and spa up are the same thing. They just call it different things.
Okay.
Okay? So peroxide is the liquid that I put in. That's the big container that we replaced. It's corrosive. If you get it on your hands, it's going to burn. It doesn't make your skin fall off. I get it on my hands all the time. It makes your skin turn white. It burns. It's just like the stuff you get in a drugstore, except this is 9 times stronger. So do be careful not to get it on your face, especially your eyes, because it really burns and it can damage your eyes quite easily. So the 3 things we really care about are peroxide, pH, and total alkalinity. I take it down. I take what I said back. pH, spa up is pH up.
Okay.
Right? Total alkalinity is total alkalinity increaser. So let me show you how to test for these 3 things. Every month I test for peroxide and I adjust it and I recalibrate the automatic feeder if necessary. The recalibration depends on how much they use it every month and what temperature they keep the water at, how much sunlight it gets, how much the cover is off. All of those things consume peroxide. There's a 5-gallon reservoir. That's generally enough to keep it going for a month. It's possible they'll use it a really lot and there won't be enough peroxide in there. In that case, we can turn the feeder on manually, and I can show you how to do that, but you need to remember to turn it off or it's going to overdose. Okay? The feeder there's no reasonable, cost-effective way to automatically determine the concentration of peroxide. The only thing we can do is test it. Electronic sensors are wildly expensive and they're not reliable. So we test peroxide by testing it. If we need to add more, we put the feeder on, manual, and if we don't need to add more, we're good. So whenever we use these, the best thing is just to follow instructions because they're not always the same. Dip, strip, and remove. Do not swish back and forth. Shake excess water from the strip. Immediately compare peroxide pad to color. After 15 seconds, compare pH and alkalinity. So dip, remove, shake, immediately compare peroxide, and as you can see, the peroxide is about 90 parts per million. That's about where we want it. And the reason it's there is because I just put it in. Earlier today, it was about 50.
Okay.
So I just dosed it up to, it's probably over 90, but that's okay. It's going to go down pretty quickly. The pH, that is probably between 6.8 and 7.2. And we wanted it about 7.2. It actually is 7.2. The tester I use is more accurate than this. And the total alkalinity, I'd say, is about in the 180 to 120 range, which is acceptable. Now, if we need to increase pH, if we need to decrease pH, you'll never need to increase pH on this, you'll only need to decrease it. If we need to decrease pH, then we put a little bit of spa down in. It's very easy to overdo it. Generally, start with about that much, turn the pumps on, put it in, and in another few minutes, test it to see where it's at. That lowers the pH, and we want to get it down to about the 7.2 range. Okay? It naturally goes up by itself over the course of a month. It'll go up over the course of the day. The other one is total alkalinity. Every time you put in pH down, it lowers the total alkalinity. So we need to adjust this up, and we want to keep it in the 80 to 120 range.
Okay.
Okay? We do the exact same thing. Just fill it up to about here. You probably need a little more on this. Alkalinity adjustments are not as sensitive as pH adjustments. Put it in with the pumps running, give it a few minutes, and retest it.
Again.
And that's all it takes to adjust pH. There are some more nuanced issues around it. I'll take care of them when I come.
Okay.
But that is basically how you do it. I can show you how to turn the feeder on manually if it does need more peroxide. You lift this and press this. It turns the pump on. It doesn't put it in fast, but it definitely puts it in. So generally give it about 5 to 10 minutes and then test again.
Okay.
You have to remember to turn this off. Here's what will happen. If you don't turn that off, after about 15 minutes, this will shut down because it has overdose protection. If that happens, the only way to get this to reset is to turn the pool breaker off and turn it back on again.
Okay.
All right? So,
just in case, but we have to turn it off like after 10 minutes.
well,
10 minutes.
within 10 minutes, make sure you turn this off.
Okay.
Because if it goes, the overdose timer is set at about 15,
Okay.
and if it reaches that point, then this thing shuts down. Turn the pool breaker off, turn it back on, and we're good. You can run this for 10 minutes, turn it off, turn it back on again for another 10 minutes, turn it off, turn it on again if you need to. But generally speaking, you don't need to do that unless they really use the spa a lot. And you'll see the peroxide level go very low with the test strip. You good?